Maybe it gets better, maybe it gets worse. I don't know. We're going to find out, though.
And you
We're
said
try it
Sister
out.
Jean, who might be my favorite person of the day.
The luck of Loyola, who are now dancing in the Final Four.
You know, Nike made special sneakers, and on the left side, the back of the sneaker, it said Sister, and the back on the right said Jean. So they're wearing them now,
That's
and it's pretty
amazing.
cool.
That's
It's a little
very, very cool story.
But a lot of news going on today, and we do want to bring in right now Mercedes Schlapp, the White House Senior Communications Advisor. Mercedes, a good friend of the show, a good friend of Fox. Great to see you this morning.
Abby, congratulations for baby Isabel. She's so adorable.
I'm very lucky. I wish she were on the show every single weekend, but I'm very lucky to have her.
If you get to 5 girls, then you match the Schlapp.
That is true. I talked to your husband about that. I need to get his advice next time I see him on how you handle women. But it's so good to have you on.
I don't know.
I want to get your thoughts off the top. I mean, the news over the weekend has still been this omnibus bill. The president looked very conflicted man on Friday, having to ultimately sign that bill. Critics have come out since then not happy about it ultimately going through. Let's listen to that.
This bill will give us $1 trillion deficit this year. It's Republicans and Democrats joining hands together to blow a hole in the debt.
Went down in the same way it's gone down for the last 10 years in a row. And so it's like Groundhog's Day. Whenever you're running up to the date, you know it's going to be a disaster. We got to get back to basic business, not running $1 trillion deficits every year as far as the eye can see.
2,300 pages. You have less than 24 hours. No member read that bill. No member knows everything that's in that bill.
We will be facing a bloodbath in the 2018 election if this is the last substantive action of the 115th Congress.
This may be the worst bill I have seen in my time in Congress, the worst bill our leadership's ever allowed to come to the floor.
Call it the Omna BS bill, and I was very disappointed in it.
So, Mercedes, a lot of prominent conservatives there unhappy.
Right. I mean, the dysfunctionality of budgeting lies in the hands of Congress. The president had sent his budget up last year, and they never voted on it. So at that point, when we're going from one short-term spending bill to another short-term spending bill, it gets to the point that this is what Congress put forward. And with that being said, you know, the president made it very clear. He said it was a ridiculous situation. He also said that this is the last time he would sign this type of bill. At the same time, his highest priority is to protect the American people. And there were things in that bill that lined up with the president's priorities, that being the largest pay increase for our military troops, that ensuring that our national defense has what it needs to be able to be prepared for our global threats. I mean, you're talking about more money in the confrontation against ISIS. You're talking about the fact that for so long our military had experienced defense cuts, and all of a sudden we're going to see that, for example, more aircraft, more tools and resources that our military needs in order to do its job.
But Mercedes, all of that is good for our military, and everybody wants a strong national defense. But you're making this like the president is an innocent bystander here, that this is all in Congress's lap. I thought he campaigned as the best negotiator and that he was going to fix this.
Look, I think that you have to understand that there is the reality of the Senate that you need 60 votes. You need the Democrats to get on board. And obviously, the Democrats haven't played ball. You take the case of immigration, where the president presented a very generous compromise when it came to the DACA recipients as well as securing the border. The Democrats refused to come to the table. So it makes it incredibly frustrating. And it's why the president has called to end the filibuster rule in the Senate. And it's why, at this point, the president is saying, I'm not going to sign a bill like this again. It does provide, now the positive part about this is that it does provide an initial down payment for the wall. We are going to get new construction for the wall, which is very important for the president. It is one of his top promises that he has made to the American people, because as we know, drugs keep flowing in. As we know, MS-13 gang members keep coming in. And the reality is we have to put a stop to that, and the border will help.
Well, the president up this morning tweeting about that very topic. He tweeted this, saying much can be done with the $1.6 billion given to building and fixing the border wall. It is just a down payment. Work will start immediately. The rest of the money will come. And remember, DACA, the Democrats abandon you, but we will not. So in addition to spending for defense, the president has been laser focused on saying, I want my wall, but Democrats have never come to the table on DACA. Do you ever anticipate that being resolved?
Well, this is where the Democrats need to make a decision. The Democrats have become the party of open borders, the party of protecting criminal aliens. As we know, the president has been pushing for an end to sanctuary cities. You're starting to see these California cities saying, you know what, I want to opt out of the sanctuary city law in California. I mean, this is something that the president feels is a top priority. And remember, this $1.6 billion in the new construction of border wall and fencing, that's for a 6-month period. There is still much to do, but we need to ensure that we have those Republicans in the House and Senate that are able to make sure that the president gets what he needs in order to ensure that we're able to build that wall.
Well, the president is up tweeting about a lot of things this morning, including Russia. That continues on. He's saying, look, we're not bringing any new lawyers into this Russia probe. He tweets, many lawyers and top law firms want to represent me in the Russia case. Don't believe the fake news narrative that it is hard to find a lawyer who wants to take this on. Fame and fortune will never be turned down by a lawyer, though some are conflicted. Problem is that a new lawyer or law firm will take months to get up to speed, if for no other reason than they can bill more, which is unfair to our great country, and I'm very happy with my existing team. Besides, there was no collusion with Russia except by crooked Hillary and the Dems. So, Mercedes, you have that going on, but also what seems to be some news coming out of Russian diplomats being expelled from the country based off of what happened in the UK, poisoning of a spy there and his daughter. It's a terrible story. That seems to be happening today and likely throughout the days to come. So you see, policy-wise, he's being tough on Russia, but at the same time, you got the probe continuing on. So help explain all this.
Well, clearly, I think when you look at the reckless and abhorrent behavior of the Russians in this dealing with the nerve gas agent in the UK, obviously we stand with our allies. The president is looking at a variety of options, and the president, as we know, has and his administration has put on serious sanctions on Russia and continue to obviously work closely with Ukraine, and again keeps sending a very strong message to Russia. As we know, the Russians have done in terms of the UK assessment on this Russian issue with the nerve agent is incredibly, it's disturbing.
Mercedes, what's the message to Robert Mueller? Is the president at war with him now?
No, again, the president has been and his team transparent, cooperative with the special counsel. And as the president has said, there is no collusion in terms of Russia.
Mercedes, as you know, there was a big march yesterday near the White House, and a lot of young people calling for more gun control. The president has said he wants to get his arms around this. Fix NICS was included in the omnibus. From the White House's perspective, are there next steps? And if so, what should they be on the issue of gun control?
Well, the president listened to parents, to students, to a variety of stakeholders on this issue. As we saw in the omnibus bill, there was two important components there. That of the Fix NICS, which is improving the background checks. As we know, there's gaps in the background checks between what the military and the civilian systems have. That closes that gap. Secondly is providing funding. This is the Stop the School Violence Act. This is something that the Sandy Hook families agree with. It's providing this funding, this evidence-based funding, to be able to research and deal with these issues of gun violence. As we know, the president and his administration just issued a rule in terms of banning bump stocks, something that President Obama and his administration had allowed. Now that's being banned to ensure that if you have these legal firearms, that you cannot convert them into illegal machine guns. The president also established a school safety commission looking deeper into these issues, and he's calling for extreme risk protective orders across the country. This is to ensure that you keep guns away from dangerous individuals, those who are a threat to themselves and a threat to society. So it is a top priority for this administration. He's taken immediate action, and he's going to stay focused on this issue.
You know, Mercedes, we started this interview with you talking about being a mother of 5, and I wonder what you think, not just as someone who works in the White House, but as a mom, to see some of these kids. It's awesome that they're speaking out. They went through tragedy. They have every right in this country to speak out, but some of them going to the podium and calling Marco Rubio a kid killer because he supports the NRA. The NRA largely being law-abiding citizens in this country. We're showing this hateful poster that was at one of the rallies mocking Marco Rubio's Catholic faith. How do you react to that?
Well, I got to tell you, this is the beauty of America is the First Amendment, but the beauty of America is the Second Amendment as well. So this is not only about freedom of speech, but this is about the ability of individuals, law-abiding individuals, to be able to carry firearms. And so I think that there is this sense of understanding that these students can go out and speak their minds, and that's important. At the same time, it's also understanding that the president and his administration, they're supporters of the Second Amendment, as Senator Marco Rubio is. And so I think the key is to really understand and get educated on these important issues. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that the good people are the ones who are able to carry the firearms. Right. We want to keep the firearms out of the hands of dangerous individuals, because that is just what the priority is right now, to ensure that these individuals who have these issues should not be able to have access to firearms. And that's where we're focused on.
There's a real balance in this conversation. We all just need to find that balance at some point.
And as parents, we have to educate our children on this.
It's true.
And how to use and train properly on firearms. Ultimately, if you use them responsibly, it's a good guy with a gun that stops a bad guy with a gun.
That's correct.
Mercedes Schlapp, thank you for your time this morning.
Mother of five, unbelievable, Mercedes. I need all your tips at some point. Great to see you this morning.
Have a good day. All right, coming up, former FBI Deputy Director Andy McCabe, he's still in